Welcome to Let's Talk About Leadership, Service, and Sisterhood,
a podcast sponsored by the California Rainbow for Girls,
an organization empowering young leaders to find their voice,
serve their community, and gain lifelong sisters.
Membership is open to girls 8 through 12.
Learn more at goCARainbow.org. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Leadership, Service, and Sisterhood, a podcast for teens by teens where we discuss the topics that matter to us.
We are members of California IORG, a leadership and service organization for girls ages 11 to 20. In today's episode, we will be talking about how social media affects you and finding other things to do in your free time.
For those of you who have never tuned in before, welcome. My name is Ashley. I'm a member of California Rainbow in Vacaville, and I am the producer of Let's Talk About Leadership, Service, and Sisterhood.
And I'm Catherine, a member of California Rainbow in San Buenaventura and co-producer of Let's Talk About Leadership, Service, and Sisterhood. Today, we are joined by one of our fabulous alumni, Mrs. Colin Weaver, who has managed social media for over 20 years.
Hey, everybody.
We're also joined by our fellow California Rainbow members.
Hello, my name is Addie, and I am a member of San Buenaventura Assembly.
And I am Ashlyn, also a member of San Buenaventura Assembly.
Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
So everyone, how much time does social media take over your everyday schedule, and how does it impact your day-to-day life?
Well, personally, I use social media maybe more than I should, honestly. Nothing against social media as a whole, but I do go on it very often for long periods of time. How it affects my day? Personally, I do tend to get really distracted online. Like, you open your phone for one thing, and then you continuously scroll on social media for maybe like an hour or two, if I'm lucky. So sometimes it's hard to get things done, but social media does prove to be helpful when not distracted.
So I also have kind of the same dilemma of going on my phone to get a task done, or even like opening up Instagram to get a task done. And then I get distracted. I'm like, oh, look, my friend posted something. And then all of a sudden I'm like going through everyone's stories and seeing what everyone posted that day. And also like Instagram Reels take up a lot of time that you don't even realize until you're like, wow, I just went through like 35 small videos and wasted quite a bit of an hour. There's been times when I open Instagram. That's the one I struggle with the most. And I end up closing it later, and I'm like, why did I even go on there before? Oh yeah, and then I have to reopen it to actually get that task done, which is kind of a problem. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Oh yeah. So quite a while ago, I put a notification thing on my phone. It says time to close Instagram when I'm on there for 30 minutes. And so I have the opportunity to close Instagram or say ignore and then keep doing what I'm doing. And then also like how it affects my day to day is there's been times when I procrastinate without realizing it by going on social media. And especially if I am trying to avoid a task that I need to do that I don't want to do, it's a really great way to accomplish avoiding that task. That's not really a great thing, in my opinion, because if the floor needs to be vacuumed and I sit there next to the vacuum on Instagram instead of actually vacuuming the floor, like could have took me 5 minutes to do that, and now it's 30 minutes later and I'm like, oh man, okay, I need to get up and vacuum the floor now. So that's just one example.
So I'm not the only one that gets the you've been scrolling for quite a while videos on their TikTok feed, I take it.
Yeah.
Mrs. Weavers, do you have any insight on how social media affects someone's life?
Absolutely. In today's digital world, we all have our cell phones that are always connected to some sort of internet. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all of these different feeds that we can look at. The majority of us are getting our news and information from these websites or apps or whatever we have on our phone. This can be a positive and a negative. You get instant information but it's not always necessarily accurate information. You also have to deal with other people online. And when you are behind a keyboard, it is easier to say things that you wouldn't say to somebody's face, right? How many of us have dealt with a cyberbully of any kind? Somebody that we're talking to in a chat that just isn't nice. So it can affect somebody a lot because people put a lot of stock into what's said to them by people online, whether it's the influencer that's convincing you to buy that particular blush or the person who's telling you all the tea on the latest celebrity gossip. Those different things can affect aspects of your life in many ways.
So, everyone, what was your life like before social media? And do you remember what it was like before electronics became a huge part of your life?
For me, I didn't get a phone until my freshman year in high school. So all throughout elementary school and middle school, I was free to not have a cell phone. And the only reason why I got one freshman year was because of the distance between my home and school and needing to communicate with my parents. But I ended up getting social media, specifically Instagram, quite a while after that, like maybe a year after I had a phone. So I definitely remember my elementary and middle school years and how not having a phone affected my relationships with the kids that did have phones. Not that it was too bad because I didn't really mind it, but there was definitely a left out feeling that was like put in that situation, which I found very interesting. Also, before I got Instagram, I really felt that I had like a lot more time. I don't know, but nowadays, when it comes to social media, I feel like there's a lot that goes on all the different platforms. And I feel that a lot of people might have kind of like a fear of missing out when it comes to that. Like there's times so I just recently got Facebook last year, and there's been times when I go on Facebook and I'm like, oh wow, look at how much has happened on Facebook since I've been on Facebook. And I do not go on Facebook very much, just to like check updates and stuff with a few groups that I'm in. But there's times when I look on there and I'm like, wow, I have missed out on a lot of people's lives, like not knowing what they're doing. And so I definitely felt a little bit of that when I was younger and didn't have social media, that like missing out, fear of missing out, when really you're not really missing out. It's just updates on like what other people post, which I find really interesting. And then also that plays into like the time and how much time is being spent on social media, and like not spending that much time, I felt that I had a lot more time doing other things. So I really strive to really lessen that time spent now.
I would say that's kind of the way it's been from the get-go with electronics. I remember vividly many, many, many years ago, before cell phones, pagers were the thing. Everybody had a beeper that we would send messages. You could put the numbers in a certain way and it would show a word on the other end. That was the beginning of it, I think, because everybody wanted to have a pager. And if you didn't have a pager, you weren't cool. And then we had our cell phones. And then the cell phones progressed to smartphones. And then we had the internet take over everything. And now nobody goes to the library and looks up anything in a card catalog, which you're all going to look at me like, what's a card catalog, Mrs. Weaver? We go to Google. If we want to find information, we go online. If we want to learn how to do something, we search it up on YouTube and find a video tutorial that teaches how to do it. Everything is centered around electronics now. And that fear of missing out can be very real to some people. There are other ways to get your news and other ways to get your information, but the internet and all the connected apps and everything have become so important and so integral in our lives that we almost view it as a necessity now, right?
I also think it's interesting when it comes to that fear of missing out. I feel like the level of the fear is higher on social media than like real life, because nowadays I feel that it's harder to get off of your phone than it is to stop doing something in person. And like there's been times when we've seen videos or actually experienced it where your family's all sitting in the living room and you're all on your phones and you're not talking to each other, or like with friends. And I feel like it's really important. Like, yes, that fear of missing out online is a legitimate feeling, but also I feel like there should be a fear of missing out in being present in where we are with people and with activities in life instead of just on the internet. And so that's something else that comparing life before social media and electronics and life now and how the level of that fear of missing out has happened, it's very interesting to see that. And it's kind of sad, just a little bit.
Yes, sitting on one end of the couch to the other and texting each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think before I used to be so involved in social media, I don't think I like cared as much about the little things that shouldn't really be cared about because it really changes your viewpoint of things because on social media people only post their best things because like not a lot of people want to post like when they're having a bad day and they post a picture of their eyes really puffy, a box of used tissues. Like you want to portray like the best parts of your life and like the parts that you find most memorable. And sometimes that can set an expectation. And so I felt that sometimes, but also I understand the fear of missing out online. That does cloud my judgment a lot for like in-person things. And I've gotten so used to it that it just kind of feels like a easy way to, I don't know if escape is the right word, but like just go in your own like little corner and relax. But at the same time, you might not be missing out online, but missing out on what you're presently in. Like it's Thanksgiving or just spending time with family because you can't really put a timer on how much time you have to spend with them.
So, for those of you who have taken a social media detox, tell us why you took that break, how long was it, and what was your experience like?
So I have strived to take a few social media internet detoxes in the past. There's been times when I've set up a challenge for myself where I'm only allowed to open up Instagram if I am posting something. Because if I'm in charge of a platform for our assembly or for my church youth group or whatever it is, like, and I have to post something, there was a time when I strived to only open up the app if I was posting something there. And, that didn't really work. But I tried. And so I think it was very interesting to see how that was kind of a struggle, but it still did kind of like have an effect on my mindset when it came to social media and opening up different apps on my phone and that kind of thing. There has been times that I have taken a break intentionally when it comes to going out of town on vacations. There's been times when I'm like at an event where I would much rather be at that event than be on my phone. So I tell myself, Addie, you are not allowed to open up social media for the whole 3 days that you're here. And then that really gives me the opportunity to be present where I am and enjoy the people and the places that I'm at and really only use my phone for pictures and if I need to contact someone. But yeah, that's it. And then there's also been times when I have been out of town in the middle of nowhere with zero cell service where my phone is only good for a camera. And those are the times when it is actually amazing because I cannot use my phone for anything. And it's different than when like choosing to be on social media or not to be on social media and still kind of struggling with that or not even having to worry about it because I can't do it anyways because I feel that I have a better time without the distraction of trying to struggle to put that boundary up for myself of not being on Instagram or YouTube or whatever social media platform it is. So that's something that's interesting.
So not too long ago, I wasn't able to use my phone for maybe like a month and a half to 2 months. So I had to use a flip phone for a while, and Addie and a couple other girls actually have photos of me posing with my flip phone to try and cope with my sadness of not having my actual one, which it really wasn't a big deal, but it was really weird because I realized I spent so much time on my phone. It was really weird. What I did in the meantime, though, like for the time that I would normally spend on my phone, was read. Like I picked up a book. It sounds revolutionary, so hold on to your seats. And I read the book. But it had been like a really, really long time since I had read any book because in elementary, like we were forced to read, and so it stopped becoming fun. But I loved it so much, like that book became like my phone. Like I brought it to a ranch for a weekend. Like it was always in my bag. But without having the option to go on my phone, I did notice I was very present in other things if I wasn't reading, which also did make a positive change with the option of my phone not being a distraction because it literally wasn't there. I was more productive and I also got a lot more things done. And I found that my perspective of things kind of changed because I had to keep reminding myself to be positive because I'd catch myself being like slightly frustrated. I couldn't like call someone or message someone. And the struggle of hitting a button 3 times just to get a letter, it was a whole thing. Um, that was not fun, but I had to practice staying positive because that was probably my least favorite thing ever. Like hitting buttons over and over again just to say, like, I forgot to lock the door, mom, took like 5 minutes. And so I put that attitude into other things like homework or cleaning my room or doing dishes. And I found that doing things that normally weren't as enjoyable became slightly more enjoyable because I had a forced positive attitude. When I do try and do a phone slash social media detox on my own, though, I find I struggle a lot because of how entertaining my feed is. And if Addie were to like hold my phone and go through my feed, I don't think it would be a problem because there's just a lot of like raccoons and buttons. For me, it's very entertaining. So it becomes a problem and very distracting. So I do really struggle in that field. At some point, if I really need to get something done, I just have to like take it out of my room. Like conceal it, don't feel it, don't let it show kind of thing. Since I do have my phone though, I still struggle with that, just not much. Catherine and Addie do have experience with me not seeing messages until maybe a couple hours after they're sent because I'm doing something else. But that's good because that means I'm not on my phone.
For me, it was because I went to the Philippines for a whole month. Not a bad thing. Actually loved it because I went for my brother's wedding. And if you've never experienced this before, if you go to a third world country from a first world country, your phone, you have to get a different one just to communicate to the people around you. But since I'm the youngest, obviously I didn't get that. So I was forced to go a whole month without my phone, not able to text anyone from here in the States. So first it was kind of lonely because I missed my friends. But what's funny about me is I'm an ambivert, so I choose to be an introvert, but I can be really social. So what happened for me to distract myself is that I went out so much. And because of that, me putting a limit on my budget disappeared completely because my distraction wasn't there to consume my time. So I spent most of my time outside, spending quality time with my family actually. There was no boys, there wasn't much friends. It was just completely family time and I found it so much more healthy because my days felt so much more longer than compared to when I'm on my phone. It feels like I was so unproductive and I didn't do anything because if I'm gonna be honest, I have a very unhealthy time spent on my phone. So I'm working on that where I'm putting limits on how much I use it. But after going to the Philippines, spending time, it was so refreshing. I didn't feel obligated to respond to someone immediately. And it made me realize you don't have to feel forced. You have your own life and it doesn't revolve around them. So that was my experience. And with my family, we have a rule of no phones allowed during food time or in with families in general. So if there was a family gathering, The phones are all gathered in one spot, even adults. So we're all forced to interact even if we don't like each other. So that's my experience.
So, Mrs. Weaver, do you think that social media breaks are healthy and reasons on why they might be good to try? Or do you have any suggestions on how someone could limit their screen time?
Absolutely. Social media breaks definitely can be healthy. Being so wrapped up in that fear of missing out, that FOMO, and seeing everybody's lives as perfect on the internet, we start gauging ourselves to that. So taking a break from that and getting out into the real world can make a huge difference on our mental health. It can also help our physical health because staring at a screen all day is not good for your eyes or headaches or any of that. So taking time off from your social media, off of your devices is always healthy. Now, how can you do that? I'm on my phone constantly. I'm constantly dealing with social media, but I have set some boundaries for myself. I have set times where I'm on the phone or doing the work on the computer. I make sure that those are my work hours, if you will. So for me, I get up in the morning, I check my email, I put my phone down, and I go do something else. I take my lunch break, then I'll check my phone again. Put my phone down, go back to doing something else, cleaning the house or doing homework if I have it that day. I just have it broken down so there's certain times a day where I'm on the phone or on the computer. So you can schedule yourself times and put a limit to it. Like Addie has the notification from Instagram that says, hey, you've been on here for 30 minutes. Set yourself a timer, you know, yell at the Alexa in the corner. Hey, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes and scroll through TikTok for 10 minutes. You can be amazed how many videos you get through in 10 minutes. But taking that time away from your electronics, away from social media is very important and can help improve your mental health because you're not comparing yourself to others, you're not listening to misinformation, and you're getting out into the real world and getting that fresh air or learning to interact with those family members that maybe you don't get along with. And you may find out that you actually do get along with them when you're forced to try. It's the hardest thing for me to do is to put my phone down and walk away when I get going. And it really helps to set limits and set timers and tell yourself, hey, I've got to go vacuum that floor. I can't put it off. I have to put this down. I have to go do it. There's ways to put limits on all of your apps. If you go into their settings, you can find limiters. Keep in mind that the algorithms are designed to draw you in and keep you in. So they're going to show you the raccoons and the funny memes that you like. So it keeps you looking. Going into the settings and setting a limiter or finding an app that's designed to help you focus while you're working that shuts out your social media or reminds you to think twice about logging in, best way to go.
I even recently learned about an app that you can download that helps you reevaluate if you want to open that app or not by taking a deep breath. Like the example that was shown on the ad that I saw was they clicked Instagram or they clicked Facebook, and the app that they had downloaded to help them popped up before Instagram or Facebook opened, and it had them take a deep breath and then reevaluate if they wanted to open the social media app again, which I thought was really cool because it gave them like 10 seconds to see, like, is this really what I want to do? Is it like I'm going to efficiently use my time here, or am I just looking for procrastination station? So
there's an app for everything. And it's really important that if you are using apps and you are using social media, that you use them wisely, that you limit your time, that you verify information that you're getting online instead of just assuming that it's accurate. And that if somebody is being a cyberbully or doing something that they shouldn't be doing online, that you're reporting them under the terms of service of whatever app you're on and talking with adults around you. If there's an issue online, we're here to help. Okay.
Well, ladies, this has been a fantastic episode. We all really hope that you have enjoyed this episode and maybe even taken some advice from what you've heard. I know that I particularly loved hearing all about the raccoons and funny things that Ashlyn has on her scrolling. I have fallen victim to the raccoon videos. They're just really cute.
Thank you to Mrs. Weaver, Addie, and Ashlyn. We have definitely enjoyed having you today.
Please subscribe or follow our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you regularly listen to your podcasts so you can tune in next month. Until we meet again, You're listening to Let's Talk About Leadership, Service, and Sisterhood. Goodbye.